Although mostly considered as the clear winner by the end of the Fourth Succession War, First Prince Hanse Davion wasn't as victorious as he was perceived in the following years. This brief and brutal conflict has already forced the Federated Sons into a rationing system by the end of November 3028, when ComStar imposed to them an interdiction of their communication systems on May 3029. Numerous planets were severely affected by it across the Federated Sons. And soon enough, the entire nation suffered a severe economic depression for many long years before there were signs of a recovery, even provided with Lyran assistance. On the diplomatic side, while Hanse did annex legally the short-lived Tikhonov Free Republic by 3031, along with the majority of the Capellan territories conquered by his troops, out of it went to his fiancée, Melissa Stainer Davion, who, facing with the abuse of power from the occupying Davion commanders in her new Sarnar March, decided to replace them with Lyran troops to ensure peace and stability in the conquered territories. Although she led the secession of her Sentive commonalty from the Confederation, Duchess Candace Liao publicly declared her refusal to support any military action against the now weakened Capellan nation and worked tirelessly for her nation to not be a Davion puppet state. In short, even though the Fourth Succession War was a huge military success across the Succession Wars era, First Prince Hanse Davion was aware this conflict could have turned against him in so many ways. Furthermore, while Hanse Davion became the closest of any House Lords to unite the Ionosphere under one banner with Operation Rat, he also became by default the greatest threat for any and all factions across the human sphere. The unexpected attack on NAIS grounds on New Avalon itself in September 3029, which forced Hanse Davion to once again pilot his battlemaster on the field of battle and fiercely defend his own life against House Liao's Death Commandos, was unwittingly the beginning of a Cold War between ComStar and the Federated Commonwealth. This war of shadows between ROM and MIIO dealt a serious blow to his initial abilities in intelligence gathering, infiltration, or simply being able to cause internal conflict among his enemies by supporting dissident entities, which blinded him more often than not in the following decades. At the start of the 3030s, apart from Takashi Kurita, First Prince Hanse Davion found himself being a senior House Lord competing with a new generation of leaders on the interstellar stage, many of whom have learned much of Hanse methodology and even taken inspiration from him. Thomas Marek, formerly from ComStar, took the throne of the Free World League in 3036 during the Indurian Wars and instituted numerous reforms to centralize powers within the state in the hands of the Captain General, while mitigating nationalist concern among its member states. Appointed Primus in 3029, Mindo Waterley secretively led ComStar out of its neutral policy and supported numerous plots aimed at hindering the Federated Commonwealth, the most significant of which was her official support in the establishment of the Free Rashagal Republic throughout 3034, which took off a large portion of the systems conquered by its Steiner ally during the Fourth Succession War. Duke Ryan Steiner also took advantage of Hanse's harsh military measures to gain political capitals when the Sky Crisis occurred following the birth of the Rashahalgian nation.
Among all of them, his greatest rival would be Prince Theodore Kurita, heir to the coordinator, and at the time Gunji no Kanrei, or Deputy of Military Affairs. A veteran commander who distinguished himself with his victories in the last Succession War, a rarity for the Combine at the time, Theodore Kurita throughoutly reformed the DCMS into an efficient fighting force. But aside from the Runin War, when he provided support to the Free Russia Republic with military troops, little was gathered for Hanse to better understand the scope of these changes within this last great house that could rival him. When First Prince Hanse Davion initiated the War of 3039 with the aim at finishing off House Kurita once and for all, if not severely weakening it as he did with House Liao a decade before, he quickly found himself caught off guard when his troops faced numerous unknown regiments of battle mechs with models dating back to the Star League era. Theodore's strong counterattack caught the FedCom troops so off guard that Hanse Davion hesitated long enough to conclude that he would rather halt his military operation and consolidate his few gains than risk being bogged down in a war of attrition that his new nation was unprepared to face, let alone sustain. He concluded peace with the Draconis Combine through the Exeter Accords signed in January 3040.